Sonic Generations is the follow-up to Sonic Colors, the Sonic game that finally got things right. Sonic Colors took the reworked daytime engine from Sonic Unleashed, a half-good game, sanded off some of the rough edges and difficulty, and came up with a really stellar visual and audio style. I enjoyed the hell out of that game. It was the Sonic game we craved for such a long time. Finally, Sega was able to get it right. So, Generations is the follow-up. Can lightning strike twice and we actually get two great Sonic games in a row? If you've ever tried following Sonic the Hedgehog, the series, you'd know it is an incoherent mess. There is a crapload of games, cartoons, and comic books that follows God knows what continuity I gave up trying a long time ago, and I know even the comic book series occasionally just retcons huge things. Generations attempts to take kind of the newer style of Sonic in the video games and the older style of Sonic from the original Genesis games and mixes them into this single game. How the hell do you do that? It's kind of interesting. It involves this weird-ass nonsense story of the old Sonic, new Sonic, time portals, and a crap load of heroin. It really just makes no sense, but it brings us this game. Levels are accessed from this 2D hub world. I hate to start ranting out the gate, but it's kind of clunky and useless and just manages to allow you to make your way to the different stages. There's an odd amount of loading, which I think is what got the most to me, and it's really just not that fun. Now, it really only takes about a minute or two to get where you need to go to get to the next level, and it is nitpick territory, but if this just was not in the game at all, I probably would have been at least a little bit happier. But like I said, nitpick territory, don't worry too much about it. Alright, you get 9 zones, each taken from a previous Sonic game, which includes 1, 2, Sonic & Knuckles, Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2, Heroes, that 2006 game, Unleashed, and Colors. For each, there's a 2D stage and a 3D stage. Based on the original game, one of these stages is lifted directly from the original game, and the other is a new 2D or 3D creation. At times, it's pretty freaking badass. You get to play through like a revved up version of the classic cyberpunk Chemical Plant Zone, and then you get to experience it all in 3D, like a new realization of Chemical Plant Zone. Meanwhile, you get to experience the newly created 2D realizations of, like, say, Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors, while gunning through an enhanced version of the 3D original. To talk about what this game lacks, you need to get a bit abstract. Let's be honest, this is a Frankenstein package of random just Sonic stuff all thrown together in a pretty good looking package. The level design is good, it is top-notch quality for this type of game, but playing Sonic Generations is kind of like listening to a mix CD that was made to you by a friend. You like some of the songs, you may even have a few favorites in there, but they aren't exactly the songs that you would be choosing, and the flow from track to track is kind of weird. Not to say it isn't good, probably better than a lot of other stuff you could be listening to, but it doesn't quite match that level of quality of a masterfully crafted album by a single artist where there is a sense of flow and consistency that was taken into a major account when crafting the entire package. Back to the game itself, going back and forth between 2D levels and 3D levels doesn't always just feel right. I didn't think much about this prior to actually playing the game, but generally, when I'm in the mood to play 3D Sonic, that's what I want to play. And similarly, with 2D Sonic, that's what I want to play. It's this weird mishmash taking you back and forth that just never lets you feel entirely comfortable while you're playing. Kind of odd, kind of abstract, I know, but it is something that's there. One last thing about the story, too. It doesn't really make much sense, and I'm not going to dock the game too harshly for this because what expectations do I have for a Sonic storyline? but it's another miss in terms of actually finally crafting something coherent. Not like I was even remotely thinking that this would happen, but it's what I would consider another missed opportunity. Do you like the idea of a 3D Sonic game? If so, then yes, you should get this. Just go buy it. There is quality level design. It's just the hub world, some of the loading times, and the disjointed feeling that bothers me just a little bit. Still though, 3D Sonic does a style of platforming found nowhere else that takes the appeal of a racing game and joins it with a platforming hero that you're able to relate to. Check out some of my other reviews for the previous Sonic games where I go a little bit more into this. Truth be told though, Sonic Generations does deliver. If you're a Sonic fan, go for it. Sonic Generations gets a 7 out of 10.